everything plays well. I haven't actually used this since Friday, so I'm like, hopefully nothing goes wrong.
Isn't that how it always is with tech?
Yeah, you hope your
Yeah.
best, and then if it works, you cheer. If it doesn't, you sigh and knowledge that it could have been worse until it is. Okay.
Yeah, I haven't made it to the acceptance stage when it comes to tech. I usually get stuck at the anger stage.
Yeah. I've been doing it for so many years. That stage no longer exists. It's just my continuous state. Alright.
That's my secret. I'm always mad.
Yeah. Hello and welcome, dear patrons, to the Tables of Tartarus, a chapter of Purgatory Corner. Today, our storyteller is Benny, and today we're going to be continuing the tale of Oceans Ablaze. If you guys want to check out more of Benny's stuff, go check out either Adventures into the End Times on our channel Tables of Tartarus, or you guys can check out his TikTok at AutisDM. And then we also have a patron on our Patreon at the moment. Whose name is... I really should have this up as well,
Puff
but...
pastry.
Yes, I think it's Puff Pastry's Fritter, something like that. I really should have this in an easier to find spot. There it is. Pastry Boy Fritter, who is a $3 patron. So we're shouting his name out at the beginning and probably end of most videos, because I will almost certainly forget it at the end if I don't. So... hopefully you guys are enjoying all this content, and Benny, if you'd like to take the floor.
Thank you for that, and for having me on, and thank you for the patron. That's actually really exciting news. I believe that's this channel's first one.
Yeah, it's very nice.
And I'll take full credit for it. No, I'm kidding.
We'll give you all the credit.
Where we had left off, the crew had managed to escape with their ship, and with a crew of sorts, it was people they had recruited who they mostly don't really know. You all weren't able to rescue the captain. You had decided to go to an area known as the Tomb, which is the ruins of a once great city that was destroyed in an especially profane fashion. And your boat is pulling into the port. There are wrecked ships on either side, so it leaves a very small part of this port that's actually usable, which also makes it very defensible and almost impossible to land here without people knowing about it. Now, before we go any further with our story, we're going to do our character introductions. And as we go around, Dungeons and Dragons and games like it are stories about heroes. Now, your characters might be non-traditional heroes, they might be anti-heroes, they might be reluctant heroes, but they're all heroes of a sort. So when you introduce your characters, I'd like for you to, apart from the usual name, the class, your case, class S, because this is a Gestalt campaign and you each have two. I'd like for you to also please, what is it about your character that makes them a hero? It could be a desire to help others. It could be a ruthless lust for power that drives them to memorable, if not good, actions. Just what makes them pursue this life of adventuring. We'll start with the one of you who's probably the most objectively, traditionally heroic, and that's going to be Marina.
Marina Oceanstar, her hero journey, in a sense, is solely based on her curiosity, because she was raised by her Trident parents that kept her away from the world. So she was really reading stories about all these really cool adventures and how she really wants to be out of the ocean and see what it actually is like and experience those same adventures she heard about and spread word as well about these heroes and be part of a story just like that and make change.
All right. And what classes is Marina?
She is a Circle of the Shepherd Druid, as well as a... Hold on, I'm pulling up her thing right now. something bard. Bard of lore?
Okay. All right.
Yeah.
Next up, we'll go with Signa.
So Signa, her definition of heroism isn't saving a lot of people or even doing something that most others would be considered good. Her definition of heroism is surviving and beating the odds, no matter how incredible those odds are. Truly Herculean feats that no one would expect from a person. She is working towards that goal in just surviving on the day-to-day, and she is a warlock of the fathomless and aberrant mind sorcerer.
All right. And next up, we have Ace.
So Ace is also probably a kind of atypical hero of sorts. He, in my mind at least, he kind of wants to be the greatest kind of pirate that the world may ever hear of. It's not necessarily to be the greatest pirate, it's to be the most well known. The deeds of he wants to live on far past his own. And so being on the ocean, learning about everything else, he seeks to learn how to spread his name far and wide and use whatever resources or people necessary to do so. He is a hexblade warlock with a swashbuckler rogue.
So is it reasonable to say that if someone said to Ace, "You are the worst pirate I have ever heard of," he would respond with, "But you have heard of me"?
Indeed he would.
Fair enough. All right. And then we have Locke.
Locke is probably like about as anti-hero as it's going to get out of the entire party. His goal, as dangerous as it sounds, is to make a mark on the world that just reverberates throughout history. And he only really knows one way to do that. And that's by dragging warfare forward, kicking and screaming if he has to.
Fair enough.
Like his main goal right now is perfecting this world's version of Greek fire, which is goblin fire.
So it makes sense that Ace and Locke have a certain camaraderie because you're both glory seekers in your own ways.
Mm-hmm.
All right. Well,
most likely picked that up from Ace.
Fair. And what classes is Locke?
Locke is an artillerist artificer and a mad bomber alchemist.
All right. So as you make your way into port, your crew start to tie up the boat, and you're greeted by someone that I think Locke, Ace, and Signa would all know. You all have been part of this crew for the longest. This is a guy named Claudio who, the last time you came this way, he was someone who could get you things you needed, and you just didn't ask too many questions about where he'd gotten them from or how he had gotten them. And you're surprised to see him looking fairly well dressed with a sort of attendant following after him. And as your ship docks, he's going to greet you very warmly and familiarly. And he's going to say, "Now, as you look around, you're going to see the place is cleaned up a little bit since you were last here. We're going for something just a little more reputable, just a little more pleasant. And when you all do look around, what you see..." So Marina, I think this is your character's first time here. What you see is basically a shanty town with people here and there stopping to stare at you in that way that They're measuring you down to the last coin in your pocket. But the rest of you, having seen what this place was like a few years ago, are going to be surprised. You notice that it's a lot cleaner than you remember. You notice that it's a lot quieter than you remember. And there is a sense that it is still a shanty town and it's not exactly pleasant. People are going on about their business as opposed to just like drunk in the street or fighting in the street or obviously waiting around to victimize somebody. And Claudio is going to continue and say, so we do have a few rules just to make for a more pleasant visiting experience for everybody. And he's going to look at Ace, the charismatic, handsome face of the party, and he's going to say, don't add to the population. He's going to look at Locke, the goblin who reeks of explosives, and say, don't subtract from the population. He's going to say,
I love that so much.
And then he's going to say, okay, but if you absolutely must add to the population, and he's going to point, there's a building that has been repaired several times in different architectural styles. So it's actually in pretty good shape, but it looks really weird because it's like an old stone building with some brick and some framework. It's just whoever knew how to work on it at the time did what they knew how to do. He's going to say that's the Drift Inn. The people who work there are well paid for their services. So if you need some companionship, just go there and do your business there. Don't get in trouble with any of the locals. If you need to subtract from the population, he's going to point to a gate that goes into the ruined city. Now, the gates themselves are long gone, so there's just this archway. And he's going to say, beyond that gateway is the cult of the undead angel. What happens in that city, we ask no questions. We're not our problem. If you get into any kind of trouble out here, call for help. The locals will help you, maybe. But if you're in the cult's territory, you're on your own. All right? Does that sound fair?
Yeah. Like what you've done with the place.
Yes, of course.
I'm assuming it's a group effort from most of the locals trying to clean up the area.
Yeah, well, only so many people are going to come and visit us if all we're known for is having the cult of the angel that caused the collapse of all of the cities 200 years ago or whenever it was. And we want to have a little bit of a better life. Just trying to make things a little bit better here. It's an uphill struggle because of what we're known for, but we're working on it.
So does that mean the biannual blood sacrifices are over?
No, you just go through the gate and you can do whatever you want. What happens beyond those gates is not my problem, kid. Like, go sacrifice each other all you want in there.
Blood sacrifices?
Okay.
National pastime.
Sorry, I'm new here, so I don't understand.
Don't let the name throw you. The sacrifices don't always involve blood. Sometimes they just hang people or burn them alive.
I don't.
Love that that's the part he has to clarify.
I'm gonna lean into Claudio. I'm gonna lean into Claudio real quick.
Okay.
Listen, Claudio, we're all friends here, and if you're looking to get let's just say a better clientele for everybody around here to, let's say, pick some ripe fruit off of their purses, perhaps. Maybe we can work out a little deal. We'll send some people your way here and there. Come on, we're all friends here. You're not just cleaning up this place just to clean it up for tourist attractions. What, are you gonna put in a water slide over near the brothel? Come on.
So he's going to make eye contact with Locke for a moment, and then he's going to shift his gaze and his entire body language and look at Ace. And he's going to say, so anyway, as part of our efforts to keep out the wrong sort of people, we have instituted a docking fee. It's not excessive. It's 5 gold to tie up your boat. That's good for a week, and that guarantees that your boat isn't going to be messed with. Now, Ace, this presents a little bit of a problem because your party and your whole crew just escaped from prison and you don't have any money.
Yeah, that would be an issue. Well, unfortunately,
I would like to I was going to say I'd like to cast Charm Person.
All right, so you do that, and Claudio looks at you and smiles and says, "That was cute. 5 gold."
I don't believe we have any gold, but I do have a family jewelry.
Let's see it.
And she will take off a bracelet of hers and give it to Claudia.
Okay, tell me
It's
about.
a family heirloom of sorts. I believe it's from my grandmother of the Ocean Star family.
Ocean Star. You're an Ocean Star?
Yes. Yes, I am.
So he's more intent on you for a moment than he is on the bracelet, but he's going
Oh
to,
no.
he's going to sort of nod. It's not a hostile. It's not hostile whatsoever. He just knows the
Okay.
family name and respects it. And he's going to turn his attention to the bracelet. While he's doing that, a dwarf is going to make his way along the dock, and he's just going to walk up and tap on Claudio's arm. Claudio's a human, by the way. The dwarf is going to tap on Claudio's arm, and he's going to say, "Thank you, Harbor Master. That'll be all. Tully's taking care of this group." And somewhat reluctantly, Claudio will look at this person for a moment. There's something going on between them, but you're not quite clear what it is.
Mhm.
And he's going to say, as long as the docking fees get paid, I don't really care. He's going to start to walk away, and as he does, the dwarf is going to roll his eyes and say, "Harbor Master, her bracelet." And Claudia's going, "Oh yes, of course. How could I forget? Here you go."
Some things never change.
Thank you.
Now, Signa and Ace, you know the name Tully. That's the name of the captain who fished you out of the water in the shipwreck where you both got both made your respective warlock pacts to survive the event. You don't know this dwarf, or at least you don't remember him. He just kind of has that look of a low-level worker who gets sent on errands and not necessarily the most memorable sort of person.
Mm-hmm.
And he is going to look at the two of you, and he's going to say, "Tully wants to talk to you at the exchange now."
Well heard. He's kind of shout back to his crew. Don't make people. Don't kill people. Wander if you need to. Get whatever information you can. Try to be nice and clean about it. We'll be gone for a little bit. We'll be back. All right.
All right. Drago, the older half-elf who you'd had some interactions with in the earlier part of the story, is going to say, "Yes, Captain." And even though there's not really official ranks among the crew per se, you're going to see that he starts to take over. He's giving orders and having them followed, from what you can tell.
Ace will probably note that and kind of nod, and he'll look to the group around him and be like, "All right, well, time to head to Tully. That might be a fun conversation. Locke, do your best to not stab anyone or blow anyone up. Yet.
I'm gonna adjust my my crossbow on my shoulder. No promises, Captain. Just give me a second, and I'm gonna call Load over to myself, and Load's back to his original wolf shape, and I just hop up on his back and follow along with everybody.
Cool.
All right. So as you make your way along, you do get some glances from the locals, but you are 4 heavily armed people and one sort of wolf construct that most of the people here wouldn't even know what it is, let alone what it's capable of. So while any other group would be at risk of being pickpocketed and possibly mugged, you feel pretty safe. The Thieves Exchange is a building that is part of it was an old customs house that's been repurposed. And as with the Drift Inn, it's been repaired, but it's been repaired in different styles by different people who may or may not have known what they were doing. So even though it's actually been pretty diligently worked on, the outside looks pretty ramshackle. And as you enter the building, there's just a cacophony of noise and activity. There are people haggling over goods they're selling. It has the feel of an open air market. There are people haggling over goods they're selling. There are people who are selling what seem to be street meats. There are some games of chance, dice games and things like that happening. And it's hard to tell exactly what's happening in any particular area because everybody's talking over each other and money's changing hands.
Mhm.
And it's almost too much to take it all in. Does anybody do anything in particular as you're entering this place?
I am going to prepare the invisibility spell in case they're attacked. Like, as the
Okay.
requisite. Enter combat, that'll fire.
All right. So we'll call that a readied action in case something goes horribly wrong in this situation. You'll just disappear. All right. So somebody asks you essentially why you're here and what you want. What are you going to tell this person?
Ace will probably look at them and just go, "Here, see Tolly. We're told Tolly or Tolly?
Tully.
Tolly. Here, see Tolly. He said he need our attention immediately, so I would suggest you point the way."
Oh yeah, don't want Tully mad at me. And he's going to lead you all back to a more private area. And there's kind of a the term just left my head. Almost like the VIP area of a club where it's a lot quieter and a lot more private.
The backstage?
Not quite backstage, but like a VIP type area.
Mm-hmm.
And sitting there at one of the tables is a halfling, and he gets up to greet you. He's got 2 short swords on his belt, and he's got prominent scars on both hands and on his face. But he greets you with a big smile, and he's going to say, "Signa, Ace, so good to see you both.
Good to see you
Locke,
again, Tolly."
And Locke, you look like you're doing well. I see. How's Lode doing these days?
He's doing just fine there, Tully. What are we doing here?
Right to the point. All right, I respect it. Please have a seat, everyone. And he's going to, and he's going to look at Marina and give a bad imitation of a courtly bow. It's a sincere effort, but it's a bad imitation of a courtly bow. He's going to say, "Well, my friends have certainly started keeping better company. Who might you be?"
She'll chuckle and curtsy, and it's like, "Oh, I'm Princess Marina Oceanstar. I was being, in a way, escorted. I had a little mission from my family to be with this crew. So things went a little south, so I'm currently staying with them."
Your family dislikes you that much, huh? All right.
I don't know.
Well, just a bit of friendly advice, Princess. You may do as you like. Obviously, you outranked me in this situation, but in this company, in this part of the world, you might want to be a little less obvious about who you are and your connections. I'm sure you would be worth something to somebody, and we're trying to avoid any trouble in our town, especially for a guest as lovely as you are.
Oh, thank you. I greatly appreciate it.
So, Ace, Signa, Locke, how do you feel about killing someone for me?
As long as I can sacrifice him to the old gods as part of that, I'm good.
I'm sorry,
or her. The old gods don't discriminate gender.
But it's got to pay well.
I don't think our
Well-
crew much minds as long as it doesn't put us in the way of the authorities at the moment. It'd be kind of bad in our current situation.
So I've heard. Tully's going to turn his attention to you, Locke, and say, here's the thing about your compensation, Locke. Your boat is tied up at the port, and you didn't pay the docking fee, which means that if the docking fee is not paid, your boat's subject to impound, as is everything on it. Now, as I recall, you had a pretty well-developed laboratory that you were rather partial to.
True.
All right.
But
So-
you're gonna tell me that this person you want us to kill is only worth 5 gold to you?
They're worth no gold to me. I want them dead.
So as long as the docking fee is paid, we'll be happy to do your business. And as long as it doesn't put us in jail yet again, we'd be happy to continue doing that business.
That's what I like to hear. And Locke, don't worry. We're not going to mess with your stuff. For one thing, nobody who works for me is good enough with explosives to do so safely. And we will make sure that you have everything you need during your stay here in our fine little town, as long as you stay out of trouble.
That's appreciated. I'll make sure he does.
So, did the harbor master tell you something about our arrangement with the people who live beyond the gate?
We go past the gate, we can kill whoever we want. We don't go past the gate, we don't kill whoever we want.
Pretty much. And our side of the gate has held up that end of the arrangement. We don't bother them, and we're content as long as they don't bother us. Now, the problem with making deals with evil cultists of fallen gods is that they're not always the most honest people. So they've been abducting people from here for their rituals, and I'm thinking that needs to stop. Now, I'm not asking you all to take on the entire cult. What would be nice, though, is if the specific cult leader, a man who calls himself Reverend Blood, because he's as unimaginative as he is evil, his little group has been abducting people. You make an example of him, and whatever you find on his person or in his little sanctuary is all yours. I'm not even going to ask what you find in there. When it should be, you should find some good stuff because they have taken quite a few people. Anyway, you do that, and we will be extremely grateful. And as I say, your stay here in our town will be completely paid for. And that's not just the docking fee. That's the inn. That's any food. That's any, within reason, any supplies you need.
All right. Could you do us one more favor as well, if you wouldn't mind? We're trying to kind of get our name out there, so to speak. So if we do manage to take this man down, would you allow it to be known that it was indeed us who did the job? Maybe just to make it so they are unlikely to continue to steal people from this lovely town, as well as to cause any more ruckus, as well as for other towns to kind of know the idea.
So I'm happy to do that for you. The only thing we might want to do, and I'm just telling you this is for the sake of clarification, so you don't think I was shining you on here. We're probably going to want to wait until you're leaving the town in order to proclaim your fame, because if the cultists know that you took out one of their reverends while you're still here,
They'll
that does
attack
put a
the town.
target on your back.
Yeah, that makes sense.
It's like leaving witnesses behind after you blow up a prison.
Which
From
you
what I
did.
understand, from
Huh?
what I understand from the story, sometimes just asking them to surrender usually helps.
Not if they're insane.
At this point,
I'll make
Signa's
a
going
note
to
of that.
At this point, Signa's going to step up and say, as a member of many cults, I can guarantee you that none of them would ever tolerate their members surrendering. They're just as dangerous as we are to them.
Well, I'll certainly make a note for the books then when I return.
Tolly, this is going to sound like a weird question for me to ask you. And mostly because I can't remember ever going that far into the city. inside that city, what's the construction like?
Old stone buildings. They've repaired what the buildings they use. A lot of the buildings are abandoned now. How they handle getting food in and out, I don't know much about. It doesn't seem like a very pleasant life, the life of a cultist, but it is what it is. They basically live in abandoned buildings.
Lots of good hiding places.
Oh, yeah, absolutely.
We're going to have to watch our backs in there, guys.
So, how stealthy are the rest of you? I seem to have forgotten. Stares at Locke's bomb bag.
I mean, I can be pretty stealthy until the bomb goes off.
Well, we'll do our
And
best
I
for you.
suppose-
We'll get through the gates, and either you'll hear of our death, or we'll come back.
Fair enough. Well, I certainly hope you come back. And there's a note of sincerity there that you don't usually encounter with this person, but you have known him for a long time, so it's not entirely surprising.
We also would prefer to have all of our limbs still attached by the moment we walk back into town, so I share the sentiment.
Listen, part of the reason why I'm giving you this job is because I think you all are up to it. I know you can handle nasty work pretty well, but part of the reason I'm giving you this job is because I trust you as much as I trust anybody, and I know you're going to get the job done. I know if anybody in there needs rescuing, you'll rescue them. Is there anything anyone in the group wants to do before you set out on this adventure that Tully has assigned to you?
I'm going to stick behind for a few minutes after the party leaves the room.
Okay, what are you wanting to do as you stay behind?
Actually, I want to talk to Tully.
All right. So Tully's going to be ready to leave with you. So if you want to talk to him alone, you can ask for that from him.
Yeah, Tully, I kind of need to ask you something kind of private.
So Tully is going to look at the rest of you and say, well, I don't see why not. And he's going to gesture for Marina, Signa, and Ace to go ahead and get going. To say, we'll catch up with you in just a moment. And when
Ace,
you're alone, Tully's going to turn to Locke and say, what is on your mind?
You seem like a guy has a pretty deep network of information flowing to and from. Am I correct?
I flatter myself that such is the case.
Kind of working on something. And I need some help finding more information about it. Well, actually, I need some help finding some ingredients that are a little hard to come by. I'm trying to do something weird and new, and I pull out the incendiary bomb, and I start pulling it apart a little bit. Don't worry, it's mostly safe. And I show him the parts that's kind of sticky, that turns it into what it does. I need something similar to this, but I need something that I can light on fire, that I can float on the water. And I'm thinking pitch. Think you could get me some of that?
Regular pitch shouldn't be too hard to come by.
I'm going to need that in pretty serious quantities. I'm going to at least need one whole barrel to test out this theory.
A barrel of pitch. All right. I don't know
But
that
I'm going to need some, and I'm not 100% sure what the rest of the ingredients are yet. I'm still working on it. But I'm pretty sure the pitch is going to be the first part of it.
All right. So I can probably come up with a barrel of pitch for you within the next couple of days. As far as ingredients that you have that you don't know what they are, I don't want to commit to some unknown substance, especially since your field is outside of my expertise. But if there's anything you need, you're always welcome to come and find me, and I will do my best to find it for a reasonable price for you.
Well, I appreciate that. And if I succeed in what I'm trying to put together here, I'll give you access to the first 10 barrels of it. And the mechanism. Or at least designs to the mechanism.
So as you're saying all of this, it's almost like you can see an abacus moving behind Tully's eyes as he's calculating the value and uses of 10 barrels of high explosives. And he's going to say, all right, well, that sounds like a promising arrangement for the future. Don't get killed on your mission. I have to say, Master Goblin, there's quite a bit more to you than most people would think. You do your kind quite a credit.
Thank you. You as well.
All right. So with that, he's going to nod and gesture for you all to leave and join the rest of the group. Both of you, not just you.
Right. We don't want to keep them waiting too long.
All right. So when you get back outside, Tully is going to gesture for you all to follow. He's going to pick his way through some of the shanties that are built up against the city wall. And essentially, the reason why the shanties are built this way is because the city wall just forms a wall that things can be built against. So it makes construction a lot easier rather than having to build new structures. People can just build things leaning up against this. And you're able to see that a lot of the wall itself is in disrepair and like so much else, has been patched by whatever means the people here have available to them, which isn't necessarily optimal. And at length, you will come to a fairly nondescript spot in the wall, but Tully will show you where there's a hole in the wall that is easy enough to, it's kind of halfway up through the wall. Part of it is collapsed. So there's fallen debris on both sides, and it's easy enough to climb over.
Interesting.
Not exactly a grand entranceway, my friends, but it will get you in. And as far as we know, this entrance isn't watched by anyone.
Well, we thank
right.
you. Do you know, do you have any information about, I can't remember the girl's name. The princess that we're looking for. What was her name?
The princess, he's gonna, again, there's a moment where he's staring off into space, and you can tell that he's essentially making a lot of mental calculations.
Mm-hmm.
And he's going to say, we'll talk about that at some length upon your return.
Okay. And then the captain of our ship previously is inside the mines as well. If you have any information about that once we return, I'd also like to pick your brain about that too.
That one, I can tell you right now, if Gorm has been sent to the mines, I mean, there's always hope, but you have to consider the possibility that he's not coming back. Most people don't.
Mm-hmm.
Even if you were to mount a rescue, there's no guarantee that he's still alive. The mines are a rough place.
Yeah, we assumed that, but always want to give the captain his due. And if his due is us going in there and finding his dead body, then that's what we'll do. You know, burial at sea rather than buried in the dirt.
I didn't agree to that.
Well, if it's in any reassurance, I think you're a really good captain so far.
Oh, well, thank you.
All right. So the way where you're going to need to go to find this particular chapter of the cult, and he's going to give you directions going into the town. He's describing an abandoned chapel of some forgotten deity that's essentially been taken over by this particular chapter of the cult, and it's relatively near to the gate.
Mm-hmm.
Relatively near to the gate of the city. and which makes sense because that would be their most likely highway to snatch people and get back into their own territory.
Yeah. Can't be too far. All right.
I wish you luck, friends. Try not to die.
We'll do our best. All right. Does anyone need anything
We will
before we
certainly
get going?
try.
Yeah, give me a few minutes. I just want to make sure that we don't get caught with our pants down by some sort of magical doohickey or whatnot. And I'm gonna spend the. I'm gonna take a few minutes and I'm gonna ritually cast detect magic using the lenses of the goggles, just sort of adjusting them. They'll flash a couple of different colors and then they'll focus in.
All right.
And I'm kind of just looking around. I'm basically checking for traps, and I'm using the detect magic to look for magic traps.
All right, so we're going to do a couple of things. Since you're not in a tremendous hurry about doing this, you're going to make your checks with advantage.
Okay.
So we'll start with a general perception check.
All right. Double 19s. It's 22.
This particular section of the ruin seems to be almost completely abandoned. There are some animals moving around, animal nests and things like that, and they've started to nest in some of the abandoned buildings. You don't see any signs of people being around in the immediate area. Now, a little bit further off, there are some sounds of human activity, or orcs or elves or whatever they are. Go ahead and make your Arcana check, again with advantage.
That is 15.
Okay, so you're going to get a couple of things off of this. One is that the whole area is suffused with some kind of very foul magic. And by foul magic, I don't just mean infernal or abyssal. I mean, it was a corruption of a natural form of magic. So it just feels fundamentally wrong. And even someone who was an evil magic user would say, this just feels wrong. The best comparison I can make is that it would be like if somebody was trying to run an engine on the wrong kind of fuel. It would just make a really discordant note to it. But you're able to get past that initial discomfort with the place, and a little bit further on, you're able to see that some of the buildings do have words in front of them that are either traps or alarms that will go off if somebody tries to enter the building without doing whatever the correct process is to diffuse them.
We got a few buildings out there. They got a little bit of something on them. Magic. There's nothing physical to undo. When we get to them, I can point them out. I can point them out ahead of time. The whole inside of this place. I don't know what they fucking did, but it is. The magic was nasty. And nasty on a whole other level, guys. It was bad.
Well,
where these people are living has God, it's like it's sick in there.
Well, we'll try to keep out of the way of the magic in that case then.
All right, you want me to lead the way, or you want you?
You're the one who can see them. We'll have you lead.
I'm gonna load. Have me and Load. We're gonna climb over the top of this thing.
Okay.
All right. So I guess next up we'll have everybody in the group make stealth checks.
Nice.
I'd like to fire off that saved invisibility spell now.
Okay, fair enough. So you're making that with advantage.
I got A unnatural 27.
Okay.
I got a 13.
Okay.
I got a unnatural 17.
All right.
And 25.
Okay. So everybody's moving along very quietly. Those of you who are a little bit more experienced on those kinds of mission are going to notice Marina. Like the clothing's a little bit. Some of the clothing catches the light a little more than you'd like. Not really giving the party away, just not quite as stealthy as the rest of you. As far as you can tell, you don't immediately attract any attention. As you make your way through the town, you're going to come to a part that's closer to the gate, and that area is a little more occupied. And what you see here is a lot of really miserable looking people. This looks a little bit more like the landing looked the last time you all were here years ago. Just people in really unpleasant circumstances, sort of going about their days in a state of misery, interspersed with people in clerical and cultists' robes, walking around with a very superior air, some of them engaged in their own rituals. And something you notice is that while all of the cultist robes have a certain improvised quality to them, there seem to be different branches of this cult. And people who are from one branch don't seem to be interacting with people from another branch. So there's some kind of variation within them. It doesn't seem to be overtly violent right at this moment.
Oh, this is a concerning sight. I'm gonna whisper to Locke.
Yeah, it's a little bit more packed than I thought it was going to be myself.
I can't tell if these are the cultists or just the ones that are having a shitty time down here.
Probably a bit of both.
I agree with Signa. I think we should just assume everybody's a cultist out here except us.
Fair enough.
I'm definitely sticking out like a sore thumb here, though, as some would say.
You know what? You're right. And is there any mud around us?
I'll no, just cast disguise self and change my outfit. I'll go human.
Okay.
Nice.
All right.
Wait.
So just tattered clothes.
Wait, can you do
Tied
that
neck
and
and
look like one of
person.
the cultists?
I probably could if I knew what they look like.
I'm gonna like guide her over to like around the corner a little bit, like that.
Oh, and it's like, oh, I could probably look like that. But probably a little different so they don't freak out that they see a twin of themselves.
Right. We might be able to use that to our advantage. What about the rest of you guys? Can you do that too?
Nope.
I am literally invisible.
Yeah.
Well, here's my thought. If the rest of you, if the two of you could do that, look like one of them, maybe that'll get us a pass to just sort of walk right down Main Street, right up to Brother Blood.
We could have Marina kind of distract them a little bit as we just kind of maneuver along the edges. And Signa is around here
I could do that.
somewhere. It disappeared, I guess. We can probably skirt around the edges as long as your wolfie don't make too much noise.
I mean, he's pretty decent about it, you know.
All right. So, Marina, how do you feel about distractions?
I will certainly do my best.
Nice. Now remember, you're poor. I know it's a weird feeling, but you're poor.
Well, since being up here, I've noticed things are definitely a bit different than what I'm used to, so it shouldn't be
Yeah,
too
we're
difficult.
poor.
Marina, given the fact that your character is a Triton and grew up among the Tritons at the bottom of the ocean where there's a plenitude of fish and whatever else one needs to survive at the bottom of the ocean, would your character even have a concept of poverty?
Probably not.
Okay.
I'm pretty sure these people are crazy enough where she's just going to fit right the fuck in. And here's the thing. I can help you with a distraction just in case things go really bad. If they do, you're going to do something you don't normally do. You're going to just flip them off. You're going to turn so we can see you, and you're just going to give them the middle finger, the whole middle finger. And
Like
that's
this,
how
and she'll show her finger.
now you got to bend the other fingers down just like that there.
Oh,
And you're
okay. Okay.
Okay, you give them that. You give that signal. We'll know something's wrong, and I'll give you a little bit of a distraction so that they forget about you for half a second, and you can get out of there.
Okay.
Okay, that's our
I can
exit
do that.
strategy. That's our exit. Okay, good.
Yeah. Okay.
Perfect.
It's going to end so poorly, but best of luck.
I'm sure it'll be fine.
And this is why I just turn invisible whenever stealth is needed.
No, God. Yeah, you do. A lot. Is that why you ripped
Listen,
off
not
that dude's
everybody-
eyebrow? No, eyelash?
Yeah.
Oh.
Yeah, I mean, those eyelashes are really putting in some work.
Listen, not everybody worships some giant fish god at the bottom of the sea. Okay.
I'm related to one. Well, probably not a god, but they probably see him as a god.
I'm sure you are. I'm sure you are.
All right. So, Marina, you're making your way. I assume you're not trying to necessarily attract attention to yourself, but you're walking along fairly openly on the street, trying to look like you are blending in here. So why don't
Just
you go
a
ahead?
human doing human things.
God.
You can't believe she's fucking saying.
All right, go ahead and give us a performance check.
I am human. Oh, let's see that nat one, please.
Never hoped for that one so much in all my time playing this
You
game.
better not curse me like that.
Come on, big money, big money.
Oh my god.
You bitch.
That's a nat
Nat
20.
20. So it's a
There
25.
you go.
All right.
If I curse you hard enough, it goes the other way.
So mad.
All right, so as you're making your way down the street, somebody just kind of gestures in passing, and just by a happy coincidence, their gesture of greeting is almost identical to the one you use in your home village, that the Tritons use in your home village. And so nobody thinks much of you, and you're able to fearlessly, seamlessly walk by. It's somewhat helped by the fact that nobody's truly that interested in you. Everybody's going about their own business, and they're not particularly on the lookout. By and by,
You know, I think this might actually work.
Yeah. And realize everyone she knew acted poor. That's pretty impressive.
Out of game, there are two kinds of people who have no manners: the absolutely destitute and the filthy rich. Anyway.
Yeah.
Why I know that's a story for another time. Anyway, by and by, you do find the temple that Tully had described to you. It's a relatively modest church. but it's still a place where a decent congregation could fit in. And it seems to have been a temple to, again, some long forgotten god of commerce or the sea or both. The original markings and scribings on the front of the building are fading away. Locke, you do notice that there is a trap set at the entranceway, and it's magical, and it's of the variety that will restrain and probably in some way harm anybody who sets it off.
Okay, can we see into the church?
Not really. There are some windows around the building, but they've been boarded up.
Well, we might be able to walk around it potentially. If you think you can deactivate it, that'd be pretty cool.
No, I got nothing to deactivate it, but I might be able to set it off.
Maybe have one of
Okay.
these random folks walk into it.
I mean, I could try to go in and just unlock the door.
Guys, I have a better suggestion. I have the Find Familiar spell. I'll just summon like a rat to trip it, and they'll probably assume that rats trip this thing pretty constantly, and
No.
it'll be fine.
You know, Sigma,
I could be a rat,
somehow I like
too.
you more and more every day.
So as you guys are standing here talking about this, something you're going to notice when you were on the other side of the wall, it just had a kind of a sea breeze aroma. There was some smell of being in a town, and not necessarily a pleasant one. On this side of the wall, the odor is much more prominent and omnipresent, and it's stronger, and it's all of the unpleasant smells you would associate with a city. And there's other things on the air that you can't quite make out, but it doesn't smell good.
Hmm.
And as you're standing there talking, what probably Marina, since she's the one who has the highest passive perception, I believe, would notice is that there are people making their way to this church. They're not going in through the front door. They're making their way around back. And what you do with that information is going to be up to you.
Before we do anything, it looks like the cultist people were looking for and I disguised as. They're going through the back rather than the front. Also, goodness, her passive perception is 18.
Jeez.
Kind of scary.
Could we go where they're going, or does that make where we are the back door? You know,
When
is
the
this the
front
back
door
door?
becomes the back door, it becomes the secret entrance.
I mean, yeah. You know, I mean,
You two are giving entirely too much credit to cult thinking. We need to go around back.
round back it is.
So as you're watching the front, you basically see nothing happening. There's no activity at the front of this place, to the point that if Tully hadn't told you to look for it, you probably would have thought it was just another abandoned building in this mostly abandoned city.
Mm-hmm.
Signa, as you make your way around back, what you discover is that there are very roughly attired and armed guards in the back, and everybody who's approaching from this way, there's just a brief conversation that happens. People the guards already know seem to get let in without much fuss, and presumably if they don't know you, it would be harder to get in.
That's good to know. Am I able to attain passage visible?
You could try to slip through the door while it's open without the guards noticing that somebody's passing by. However, it would be the kind of thing where even in an invisible form, you'd be sneaking past somebody who's right there. So you can try it if you'd like. It would be a stealth check.
I'll give it a shot.
All right, go ahead and give us a stealth check with advantage.
Um, 6.
Sorry, what was that?
That was 6
With advantage?
with advantage.
Oh.
It's okay.
Right.
I think they technically have disadvantage to see you, though.
Passive perception doesn't work that way.
Bardic
what-
inspiration. I mean,
I don't
that's
know.
very late for
We're
that.
not close enough for that.
Yeah.
So my first roll was a natural 1 with a +2. Second roll was a 4.
All right. So,
Um.
At least it's not a critical fail.
so,
Basically.
so as you're approaching, you realize a couple of things at once. One, there's not really a toilet facility functional in the area. And two, there is a rather large, rather fresh pile of shit that you just stepped in that squelched loudly. And you made the appropriate exclamation as this happened. So the guards are now looking around in confusion. Like, what the hell was that? Who's there? Kind of thing. But they
I'm
don't.
going to attempt to strategically retreat before I am caught.
All right, and that you managed to do pretty easily, and so you're able to make your way back to your group without anything happening.
Okay, so there's like a passcode or something we need to get in. I missed it because I was almost caught, despite still being invisible.
How were you almost caught while invisible?
Not important.
I feel like it would be.
Oh, it's completely fine.
Okay. I'll do. Marina, you want act poor again and get the passcode?
Sure. Do I just go knocking on the door and just say I'm new to this?
I ain't gonna lie, that actually sounds like a really good idea.
I mean, I already look like them.
I legitimately don't know if that would fail. I was gonna suggest just walking up to someone and asking, but
Well, not everyone is a cultist here. Unless they
Yeah.
are.
uh,
They all
You-
kind of look in the same state to me, so.
you can try, I guess. Although if you ask the guard and then walk away, that might be strange, but
I'll
maybe.
just do the finger thing that
Yeah. As long as I can see you, I can get
you
you out
locked
of it.
it.
Don't you worry.
Yeah, it'll be fine. I'll just do the middle finger bird thing that Locke taught me, and it'll be fine. Plus, I look like them, so if anything, I don't know. I'll figure it out.
Yeah, you know what? Good luck, princess. We'll be
Glad I turned off my camera for that.
we'll be a distance behind you.
Just don't get caught.
So is the rest of the party trying to sort of creep along behind Marina at a respectful distance and not get seen, or are you staying near the front of the building?
I was
So my
thinking.
What were you gonna do?
I was thinking that we would be kind of walking along the kind of outskirts, kind of hiding behind bushes or other buildings, trying to keep her in sight while trying to make sure we don't get caught.
Right. Like if we could do that from a distance and keep her in a line of sight where we can still see what's going on.
All right, sounds good. Everybody make a stealth check. Signa will be doing so at advantage because Signa's still invisible.
That'd be a 17.
Okay.
It's a 21.
Okay.
18 for Marina.
It's gonna be a 9 from me.
All right. So Signa, as you're walking, because you still haven't cleaned off your boots, you slip and make some commotion as you're catching yourself on the nearest object. As the guards start to notice and look around, what they see is Marina approaching, looking like someone who is from this town or part of this area. And they're going to relax a bit, and they're going to say, "Oi there, what's your business here?"
I heard there was a meeting, but I woke up late. Had to figure out something for breakfast, tried to chase the rats, didn't work. But I'm new to this. I don't exactly know the password.
So you're trying to join us?
Yes.
Oh, all right. All right, you're gonna have to wait a minute. We're gonna have to get one of the deacons to escort you. Just can hold on. And
Perfectly fine. I have nothing else to do in this life today.
one of the guards is going to remain with you. The other one is going to go into the building. And a few minutes will pass while you're just kind of standing there waiting for this guy to come back. Are you going to say anything to the guard while you're waiting, or are you just going to let the time pass?
I'll talk to the guard. Small talk. It's like, so, what do you do on a day-to-day here?
Well, we pray for the return of our fallen Lord, and we make our sacrifices to strengthen them. When he does return in his glory, he'll remember those of us who strive to bring him back. And we will be rewarded with a better life than this one.
I mean, a better life sometimes starts with simply a slightly better day. But this Lord you're wanting to bring back, why was he banished?
Well, he's going to look really confused by the question. He's going to say, it's Lucifer. He was the one who brought down the old civilizations. He was the one who broke the chains of those who had been enslaved by the old powers. And
sorry, I've heard many stories on my journey here of different gods and goddesses and leaders that have been banished in different ways. Some even stuck in a mortal body for the rest of their lives. So
yeah, no, it's I'm surprised you don't know the story. Most of the people here in our town know it. Yeah, he ruled over us as a benevolent ruler for thousands of years, and then he was overthrown, and he finally found a way to come back, and he overthrew the corrupt kingdoms and cities. But then just a group of random people challenged him and defeated him. And one of them, I don't know the whole story, but one of them was a halfling or a dwarf or a goblin or some such nonsense who was mad about the death of some fisherman. And I mean, I'm sorry, it's so tragic just to think about what he would have done for us had his glorious rule returned. But we pray for the day when he comes back again.
Marina pauses and it's like, it was actually a gnome, a goblin, and orc, and a gnoll. I've heard that story many times as a child. It was always a bedtime story to really teach us some sort of lesson. But yeah, that was the group that took out our beloved Lord. She seems like a little awkward saying that because it's the main story that made her want to adventure.
So he's going to nod along as you're talking, and he'll say, Yes, well, when we tell the story, we don't focus much on the defilers. Our focus is on the glory of the Great One. And as this conversation is happening, the other guard is going to return. Following after him is a not necessarily well dressed by the standards as Marina would know it, but well dressed for this place and reasonably well groomed man who's going to smile and introduce himself as Deacon Brian. And he's going to give kind of the standard cookie cutter introduction to any religious organization. So glad you've come to join us. So glad you're seeing the light. And as he's talking, he's sort of guiding you toward the entrance to this place. And he's going to ask, what is it that brought you to our house of worship in particular?
Oh, my family was brought to the mines due to a group of adventurers, and I wanted to find, in a sense, the fastest way to take on revenge for all the adventurers that ruin families that are simply trying to survive in such a difficult world.
Well, when he returns, he will drown the world as we know it in fire, and we will rise on its ashes. And as he says this is something it's a very repetitive line. He's saying it almost robotically. So you're now at the entrance to this place. So the question is, do you want to go ahead and go in with him, or do you want to do something other than that?
I kind of want to do Wild Companion. So, is the group in a spot they can see or hear the password?
They're relatively nearby.
What was that?
I said they're relatively nearby.
Okay. So I don't know if I should go in or not.
Well, do you want to? Are you wanting to stall for time and continue to talk to him out here, or what would you like to do about that situation?
Can we, from our perspective, can we see that she's sort of having a little bit of a crisis?
What's your passive perception?
It's an 11.
12.
All right. You are looking at this person and you are trying to figure out what's going on. I was just trying to save you an unnecessary roll if your passive perception happened to be really high. So go ahead and make a perception check.
It's a 4 from Ace.
Honey, that was sad.
It ain't much better for me. It's a 5.
Oh my gosh, guy.
Signa, anything from you?
No, not even. No.
Okay.
Well, I might just do at least
So basically, while I'm looking at this interaction, it doesn't look like she's about to go inside, and we don't really have any good way of getting her out.
Yeah, you would be able to surmise that.
Okay, so I'm gonna tap the earpiece, and I'm gonna cast message at her. Right, Marina, this is Locke. You can respond to me without speaking. Just think the words, okay?
okay.
Check in on you in another couple of minutes. If you gotta go in, go in.
Okay. I will go in then. I just wasn't sure what you guys would do.
You're the only one right now. You're the only one that can make it in there. Like I said, I'm gonna give it a couple of minutes. That'll give you time to go in, get an idea of what's going on. If you see the target, you can tell us where he is. But none of us can really get in there. We'll make a commotion if we need to.
Okay. I'll be back then. And Marina will go back to the deacon and it's like, okay, well, we shouldn't waste any more time. I'm quite interested to be brought into this faith.
Admire your enthusiasm. And he's going to lead you into the building. As you enter, the smell is worse. It's a smell of both fresh and rotten meat. And the back of it is what you would expect from the back of any religious institution, which is some kitchens, some janitor closet type areas, pantries, things of that nature. He leads you what seems to be the long way around the building, so you wind up going through side passageways. You reach the front of the building where you would have been had you come in through the front door. And along the walls, there is artwork. It's not of a particularly high quality, and most of it depicts scenes that involve Lucifer engaged in just grotesquely bloody acts against people much smaller than him. It's even for somebody, I know Marina's relatively innocent compared to the standards of this party, but even to somebody who's seen battle and seen combat and all that goes with it, it's a particularly grotesque sight. I'm trying not to go into a lot of lurid detail about it, but I think you get the idea.
Mm-hmm. And
at length, you come around to the foyer of the building, and Deacon Brian says, so when we enter, what you need to do is just walk directly up to the altar, bow, and introduce yourself as a supplicant to our Lord. And from there, we can go on deciding what exactly your role will be within our organization. And he's going to open the door. And when he does, I need you to make a Constitution saving throw.
Oh no. Surprisingly, her rolls are good today. That's an unnatural 20.
Okay. So as this door opens, the smell beyond absolutely makes you want to retch. And the sight of what's beyond doesn't make it any better. Basically, what you see in this building is that people have been sacrificed in more than one way. All of them particularly gruesome. Again, I'm trying to avoid lurid detail, but none of their deaths were clean, quick, or painless. And the remains or parts of remains have been somewhat haphazardly nailed to the walls and just essentially left there. And there are, as you sort of get over the initial shock of this, you see a man standing at an altar, and the altar was to some deity, and the altar has been effectively colored, like written over with even some of the carvings and things like that carved over to a crude image of an angel, and he's praying in a language What languages does Marina speak?
Marina speaks Common, Elvish, Goblin, and Primordial.
Okay. He's praying in a language that isn't any of those, and it has a very harsh, grating sound to it, a little bit like Latin, but like an especially brutal and rough form of Latin. And there are people sitting in the pews, apparently at prayer, and then right around the altar, there are a few cultists at lighting candles and just at various functionary roles. So upon seeing the scene, what do you do?
Marina will kind of be set back and try to stay. It's like, is this the ritual our god prefers?
Oh yes, this is our daily ritual. We don't have anything to offer him right this moment, but nightly we're able to sneak into the port side and bring people back for our Lord's edification.
What happens if you don't have anyone?
That hasn't been a problem. If we're not able to get into the port for some reason, we take someone from the town. Our Lord provides.
Okay. Would I be able to meet with the leader or the person that does these endeavors? I'd be quite interested in seeing how you guys strategize these snatchings, because last I heard this is next to a pirate shanty port, so I feel like it would be very difficult to snatch them. So it's quite impressive that you've been able to get a sacrifice all this time.
So he's going to smile at that and he's going to say, well, drunks don't put up much of a fight, and please don't take this as anything but the most respectful way. We are blessed to have a few ladies as lovely as yourself who are able to lure men into compromising situations. So we're able to keep up a steady stream of supply for our ritual needs. Now, while this conversation is going on, Locke, the couple of minutes you specified have gone by. So if you want to try to check in on Marina, you can.
Yeah, that's what I was actually thinking the same thing. I'm gonna tap on the earpiece. Marina, I need a sit rep. What's going on in there? I need numbers. I need locations. Did you find who we're looking for?
I don't believe I have yet, but I want to throw up the ritual room is mass killing pit of sorts. And every night they go out to the dock and snatch up drunk people or use women to lure men so they can sacrifice every night to their lord. Currently, I'm trying to talk to them into trying to make me part of their kidnapping tonight so I can get an idea who the leader is. Maybe they won't have a sacrifice tonight. And I'm definitely going to lose my stomach after this.
All right, you're doing a great job in there. Does anybody look like he's in charge?
Can I look around to see if I spot anyone that seems in charge other than the deacon?
So with your very high passive perception, you're able to pretty much immediately zero in on the person who's praying at the altar is in robes that look a little cleaner and a little more ornate than the rest of the people here.
Yeah,
so
I can spot the leader. He's currently praying at the ritual. The podium, that is. A very unpleasant sight, but he's the cleanest of them all in the nicest of robes that this place can provide, it seems. Their podium and ritual area are located pretty close to where we were before that we thought was the front door.
Makes
The
sense.
front door is his escape route if something goes wrong.
Yes.
I'm gonna make a ruckus, and I'm gonna send Ace and Signa over to the front door. Because if he goes where I think he's gonna go, he's gonna run right into them. Okay?
Okay.
I'm gonna turn to Ace and Signa, and I'm gonna give him this plan.
Okay.
All right, Ace, Signa. Where we were, that's his out. That's his mouse hole. We need to get you two over there. If he runs, I'm gonna make a ruckus. I want him to run, and I want him to run into you.
Okay.
I'm gonna do what I do best, so that you two can do what you do best.
Make the
This
biggest
place is
boom.
This place is a disgrace to the city of Ryla. Honestly, it's just humiliating to the true cultists. Thank you very much.
Then we burn it to the ground.
You can get behind that.
Okay.
Or in your case, I guess, drown them? I don't really know how your powers work outside the sea, I'll be honest.
Neither do I.
Okie dokie. So, I am 100% going to make a big giant ruckus. I am going
Hashtag save the princess.
So the princess saved the world.
Yeah. I'm going to take I'm going to take an explosive bundle. It's going to be 3 normal bombs, all strapped together. And I am going to cast catapult on that bundle at the guards.
Whew.
The intent is to be very loud, very bright, and very obvious that they're under attack.
All right, and what do these bombs do exactly when they hit?
So on a hit, it explodes in a 15-foot diameter sphere. Each creature other than the target in the blast area makes a dex save, taking half damage on a fail, no damage on a success. For catapult, so basically what's going to happen is if they fail the dex save on the catapult, it hits. And then it'll be 3d10 fire damage in a 15-foot radius, and they'll have to make a the other guard is going to have to make a DC 15 dex save to not get hit by it.
Okay, so
the first guard has to make a DC 15 dex save against my spell DC for the catapult, and if he fails, he takes 3d8 bludgeoning damage and 3d10 fire.
all right, so he fails, and we're just going to go ahead and say this person is more of a fine mist against the wall of the church than anything else.
Ooh.
The other one also failed badly, so go ahead and roll up the damage.
2, 3. That is 19 fire damage.
All right, so yeah, he is no longer among the living.
Ooh, goddamn.
It is at that point in time I am going to tap the earpiece in my ear, and I'm going to yell to Marina, "It is go time, get the fuck out of there. We're going in."
Should I not try to capture the leader or trap him? I can pretend
Try
to
to look-
protect him.
Do that.
All right,
Okay.
so Marina, from where you are, everybody heard this in the building. This explosion shook the building, and I would venture to say that it's known. So there's quite a bit of commotion. The figure.
If it means anything, I don't mean
Hmm.
to interrupt you. If it means anything, that space in the area where those guards were took double damage from the explosion.
All right. So yeah, so basically the back door is more of a back, very large archway that you could ride a carriage through at this point. And so there's a significant amount of confusion within the chapel itself. The leader is calling for everybody to be calm. He's ordering some of his cultists to find out what's going on. And Deacon Brian, Marina, his eyes are immediately going to fix on you. It's not lost on him that you showed up and this happened. So what are you going to say or do with him in this moment?
Marina is going to say, well, stop looking at me. We need to protect the leader, don't we? Unless you want to be tonight's sacrifice. And then Marina will hurry over to the leader.
Make a deception check.
A very surprising nat 20. That was a 24.
All right, so yeah, he's basically going to hear you say this, and he's just going to say, "Amen, sister," and he's running with you up to the robed figure you identified earlier, and he's going to say, "Father, please, we should get you to safety. We don't want to be here. We don't know what's going on."
Could I have made it to the door by that point?
Absolutely, you would have. Are you trying to get to the front door or the back door?
The one that I just blew a hole in.
Yeah, you could have entered through the debris at that point.
I am going to make a very loud entrance. I've got an explosive bundle in one hand. I've got another bundle in the chamber and on the crossbow. I'm on load. Just
I love that your mic didn't catch that.
and I am going to spend 2 sorcery points. Is it 2? No, I'm going to spend 1 sorcery point. I can do this more than once in a day. And I'm going to spend a sorcery point. I'm going to twin spell catapult on an incendiary bomb bundle. There's going to be 3 of them, and a shrapnel bomb bundle, and there's going to be another 3 of them.
All your bombs going into this area.
I am sending both of them. Are they about 90 feet? Is it about 90 feet from me to where the priest is?
Some room walls between you, but it would be a little less than that distance.
Yep, that's what I'm going to do. I'm going to twin spell it, and I'm going to send it right at him. Marina is going to be. Don't worry, Marina is going to be safe. Because of my level up to level 4, I have a discovery called Precision Explosives, and I can pick one creature to automatically succeed and take no damage.
Okay.
And guess who that is?
It's me.
Does that creature have to be within sight?
Oh no.
No.
Oh, okay.
Yay.
I mean, it doesn't say they have to be, but like.
Okay, yeah, if it doesn't say it, it's not the rule.
Okay, and so basically, you're gonna hear there's just gonna be 2 thumps coming from the crossbow as both of these bundles go flying. They're gonna have to make that DC 15 dex save, and if I can zero in on where Mr. High and Mighty is, I'm taking a straight shot at him as best I can.
All right, so there's walls. He's still in a different room of this building from you, so you can't attack him directly. What does happen though You don't really see the exact effect of this from where you are. I mean, you just see an explosion within the building that you're walking into, and you hear the accompanying screams and see the appropriate smoke and dust cloud that would come with that. Now, Marina, from your point of view, the deacon is telling this minister, we have to get to safety, we need to get out of here. And the minister is arguing, no, we have to maintain calm, we have to protect the sanctuary of our Lord. And as he's in mid-sentence, the wall behind him explodes, and there's just a spray of wood and stone and everything else raining down on everybody. And with remarkable calm in the midst of all of this, and absolutely a couple of the people who are in this chapel are taken out by the falling debris and so forth. And with remarkable calm, he's going to say, on second thought, Deacon, I believe I will acquiesce to your suggestion. Let's go ahead and leave. Now,
So, is he visible now that the wall's been taken out?
he will be in a moment, but as I say, there's still just this cloud of dust and smoke and stuff, so you can't see anything very clearly. Now, Signa, you had started to say something?
Yes, so during the period of time that we've been waiting for these people to come out the back door and hearing loud explosions, but I've been able to prep a spell for whoever I see come out of the church first.
Yes, you absolutely would. And what spell do you have in mind?
I'm going to ready the mind.
The mind what?
Spikes. Minds.
Okay, so basically the first person who comes out of the door that you don't recognize is getting a mind spike?
Yes.
Okay. All right. So yeah, you Signa and Ace are just kind of standing by the front of this building, essentially awkwardly waiting for things to happen, and all of a sudden you hear a significant boom. And I think Ace, you in particular, know exactly what that signifies.
We're already lightning lore, my cantrip, specifically for the guy in the epic clothing or whatever.
Okay. So you've got a spell ready, but you're not targeting the first person who comes out. You're picking your target.
Yeah.
All right. So after a moment of the two of you, after the moment of the sound of these big booms, the doors fly open and people start pouring out. The first person who comes out, Signa, you don't have the chance to set off your spell because this person sets off the trap that was at the door. And so you just see black tentacles reach up, grab them, and suck them into the ground.
Ooh.
And again, we're not going to get overly vivid with the details, but it's not pleasant. It doesn't look like a good time. It doesn't look like a good way for this person to go. And the next person in line, what's the save for a mind spike?
The save is wisdom, and I believe it is 13.
They fail.
Okay. That is going to be a total of 19 psychic damage.
Okay, so they grab their head and essentially fall in a fatal seizure. And upon seeing all of this happening at the entrance, several of the people who were trying to leave stop and start trying to go back in. So there's this commotion at the door where you've got one group of people going, let me out, and you got another group of people going, let me in.
Especially because the inside is on fire.
Yeah. Now, Marina, you are in the chapel with both the deacon and the minister who are now making their way to the door. The minister, he's an older guy. He looks pretty physically sturdy, but he's not a young man, so he's not moving especially fast. Are you just going with them, or are you going to take this opportunity to try to attack one of them? What are you doing?
I'm going to go with them for the meantime, but I'm going to cast a Wild Companion,
Okay.
and I'm going to summon a cat in the same color, same everything that how I was when I was on the ship. And I'm going to have that cat familiar go to Ace. That way they know how to find me.
All right. So Ace, you see the cat as described make its way out of, sort of weaves
Oh,
through the
Black Kitty.
commotion at the doorway,
Mhm.
makes its way to you, and you now know for sure at least the general direction where Marina is.
Okay.
What are you doing with that information?
With the knowledge that she's in that direction, I'm going to assume that they're going to be trying to make their way out, and knowing specifically where the cat came from, I'm going to be honing in on that position, kind of like dead focusing on it, and just kind of ignoring anyone who goes past. Probably whispering to
Signa?
Sorry, thank you. Probably whispering to Signa, try funnel people out of the building if you can. The cat is going to show me where the deacon or the head honcho is going to be coming out of. So see if
So
you can
the
get some
building-
out.
So the building doesn't look all too structurally sound. Wouldn't we just blow some of the remaining structural supports and kill everyone inside? Wouldn't that be more
Only
efficient?
if we want Maria to die.
It'd be fine.
Yeah, let's not do that yet. Once we see Marina, you're welcome to break the entire building.
Okay.
All right. So one more thing from Marina, and then we're going to be then you're going to be up, Locke. Marina, you're approaching the front of this building where the sort of full commotion of people, some trying to back into the building is happening, with others trying to escape from it is happening. Are you going to interact with that in any way or try to?
I will. Oh, I thought I had something for this.
You have a specific spell for when you're in a building that's in the process of burning down and collapsing, and half the people are trying to get out, and half the people are trying. Okay, that's very situational, but I'm glad you have that spell. Sorry, go on.
I mean, it might.
I believe it's called Fireball.
Or, gust of wind to make the fire that's already there stronger.
Yeah, you could do
Could
that.
do that.
How?
Oh. I don't know what I would do exactly during this situation. I'd probably just shout to those that are crowding. It's like, hey, come on, brain. The bishop's trying to make his way through. Unless you want to be tonight's sacrifice or this month's worst sacrifice, I highly recommend you move.
Make a persuasion check.
I will cry if this is my first low roll.
I mean, does she get advantage because of all the chaos behind her?
Sure. Why not?
It's a good thing she had advantage.
That's an 18.
All right. So as you do that, the group that is trying to get back in from especially since it was just the 2 attacks and there doesn't seem to be any further incoming. The group that was trying to get back in starts to give up and they start to pour out of the building. And Locke, you're making your way, you and Lode are making your way through the settling dust. So what you find is there's something that looks a bit like a treasury, or at least a room full of stuff that was taken from people who were sacrificed.
Mm-hmm.
And some of it's likely valuable. Some of it is damaged, but some of it's not. Beyond that, though, you essentially blew a hole that kind of went through a couple of walls. And you can see now into the chapel where Marina is making her way out of the building with this robed figure and several other people around.
All right. We're gonna do this. We're gonna do this one more time. I'm gonna spend my last sorcery point and my last spell slot, and I'm gonna drop 2 reagent dice into one of these bundles here.
We are losing this treasure.
I need to be sure.
Good lord. This treasure might be useful.
So let's see. I've got 2 incendiary bombs left. So that's I'm gonna make a bundle. I'm gonna have a bundle of them. And yeah. And you know what? I've got my quiet bombs. So we're gonna have 2 bundles of 2 quiet bombs and 2 incendiary bombs, and I'm gonna drop reagent dice into the incendiary bomb, which is gonna give the incendiary bombs an extra 2d10.
Ew.
So, and I'm aiming right at the robed figure.
Okay.
And he's gonna and so he has to make a DC 15 dex save twice.
God
Twice.
damn.
Well, because
So
these are
friggin-
2 separate catapults. It is gonna be another thump.
Fucking 20 people around him about to turn to shrapnel.
Pretty much.
Goblin Grim Reaper is here.
I forgot how much of a chaotic neutral character he was.
So are you doing anything that protects Marina from the explosion around this?
Precision explosives. She's safe.
Okay, so she's safe. I didn't know if that effect was still in play or not.
That effect goes with all of my explosives. I can pick one person.
Oh, okay. Good to know. All right. So he succeeded on his first save and failed on the second one.
So he took 3d8 bludgeoning damage and 2d8. Oh, he took 5d8 bludgeoning damage, basically.
Was some of that halved since he succeeded on one of the saves?
So if he succeeds on the dex save, so basically he succeeded on the first one, which was the incendiary bomb. So that went off past him and took out a bunch of his friends. And then the second one that he failed, he took the full 5d8.
Okay, go ahead, roll up the damage.
I love that the incendiary bombs explode past him, massive fireworks, and the 2 quiet bombs just like doo doo.
Hold on, so I don't forget. So that's 18 bludgeoning.
Okay.
And his and everybody within a 10-foot radius of him, they also get to make that DC 15 save, or they take 2d8.
Okay.
Which, yeah. And then, is he still up?
How much damage is he taking? You didn't tell me the fire damage.
So
He's
the
still
fire
pretty good.
damage, the fire damage would have been. Roll that then. 1 plus. That was 2 of those.
Oh yeah, because he's standing in the fire.
Yep. That is 11, 16. That's another 19 fire
Okay.
damage.
All right, so he's hurt. I mean, he's really hurt, but he's still up. A couple of the cultists around him are not. And Marina, you're in the middle of just this sea of destruction with none of it quite touching you.
God, that would be
Because
horrifying to witness. Yeah.
If he's still up, Lode takes a shot at him.
Oh, Lode can take a shot as well. Okay.
Bonus
Yep, he's an
action.
Eldritch Cannon. He's got 120-foot distance that he can fire out to.
Okay.
Let's see.
This would be horrifying for Marina. Just bodies flying through the air.
And then, so Marina just hears after all of those explosions, he's still up! Get him, Lode!
God.
Let's see, what is it? Does an 18 hit him?
18, yeah.
Okay, so he takes 2d8 force damage right to the chest.
Ooh.
All right. So he is still up, but a lot of the people around him are not.
Mm-hmm.
And Marina, you're the only one in the position to see this. But one of the cultists who's not as badly hurt as the others, he's going to grab onto that person's shoulder, and you're going to watch this person just wither away.
Oh no!
And he's going to, still looking pretty hurt, he's going to stagger forward toward the exit. He's trying to escape. And Deacon...
He took 8 force damage, and he got shoved 5 feet.
Yeah. So he's staggering toward the entrance, and Deacon Brian is going to look at you, Marina, and this guy still, as far as he knows, you're still with the cause. He's just going to shout to you, protect the minister, and he's going to draw a dagger and start advancing toward Locke.
And Marina will. It's like, okay, I will. And she'll go toward the minister.
Oh, poor Lark, having used all of his shit now.
All right, so
I ain't
Signa.
completely done.
Signa, you've been standing outside listening to increasingly closer explosions from within the building. There's now dozens of people pouring out of this place, some of them in cultist robes, some of them more dressed like peasants, but still clearly affiliated with this group. What do you do?
Can I spot the minister yet?
Probably not, because there's a lot of smoke and dust and debris, and there's a lot of people between you and him.
Okay. Well, in that particular case, then I am going to cast Eldritch Blast at one of the people coming out of the church.
Just
Right,
indiscriminately just blasting the shit out people running out.
That would be correct.
Yeah, I'm actually going to say don't even roll for it, because you're just firing into a crowd at this point, so just go ahead and roll up the damage.
Of course, that's the roll. I get a natural 24. All right.
Roll up double damage then, since you went ahead and rolled for it.
All right, so that is going to be a total of 18 damage.
Okay, so one of the robed figures who was lingering by the door, ushering people out, he's right in the middle of saying, "It's all right, everybody stay calm, let's just make our way out." And the Eldritch Blast takes his head completely off. Again, in just kind of a wet spray on the people he was trying to calm down. So what was already a rather disordered evacuation is now turning into full-on panic. Ace, what are you doing?
I did tell Signa to make them get out of that building faster, so that was very effective.
You worshipped the wrong god.
Oh, God. So he's probably going to do is I mean, he has a single target, and Signa is doing some damn fine work getting people out. So he's going to just kind of sit there and wait for the most part. He's just going to keep trying to spot the minister, keep lightning lore on it so he can pull him away from the crowd. Pretty much just telling Signa, and that was a good shot. They're funneling out faster now. If you got something more important, do it. Try to keep the building stable, at least for now. I mean, we did say we were going to get some loot afterwards, and if you break down the entire building, that ain't going to happen. The
Right,
lock's doing a
so-
pretty good job bringing it down.
All right, so in the aftermath of Signa's headshot on this guy, you are going to catch a glimpse of the minister.
Mhm.
Do you want to go ahead and do your lightning lore on that? I'll allow it.
Yes, I would like to. You must roll a strength saving throw, DC 15.
All right, so this old man has been shoved forward several feet, and then as soon as he rights himself, he's getting. How does lightning lore work exactly?
So, if he fails it, he is pulled up to 10 feet in a straight line towards you, and he will take 1d8 damage, which is a 6 lightning damage.
All right.
If he is within 5 feet of me, that he ends his turn.
Okay, so he doesn't end within 5 feet of you. He's about 20 feet away, but he is yanked forward, and as he's yanked forward, he's yanked into other members of the crowd, so turns the whole thing into even more of a shit show than it already was.
Kind of say to Signa as I do so, got him.
Now, Locke, there is a cultist advancing on you with a dagger. You don't really have any sense of what this person's capacity is. What are you thinking you're going to do?
Couple of things. I'm going to say he looks like a pretty serious looking guy. I'm going to pull out one of my laughing gas bombs.
Why so serious?
And I'm going to tell him, hey, I'm going to look at him and be like, you know what? You look like you could lighten up. And I'm going to throw the laughing gas bomb at him after I've primed it with 2 reagent dice. And this is more of like a ranged attack on my part.
Okay.
So here we go. There's a 25.
Jesus.
Very much so.
Okay, so he takes 1d6 plus 2d10 poison damage, and he has to make a DC 15 con save.
All right, so he failed his con save, so I'm just going to tell you what happens. The damage is enough to finish him, and so he starts to laugh, and he just his face pulls back into this awful rictus grin, and he collapses in convulsive laughter, and that is the end of this guy. Now, amid the pile of loot, something you're going to notice in this moment, Locke, is there's a set of tools that look like a pretty nice set of tools, including some things like thermometers and measuring beakers and things like that have been left here.
Oh, I'm definitely going over. They probably have everything under control, and I have lots of space in the bag of holding. I am going to, as much as I can, starting with the tools. I'm going to get those nice tools into the bag first, and then anything that looks valuable, I'm just shoveling it into the bag until it looks like I need to get the fuck out of there.
All right. I know I'm going in a somewhat random order, but thank you all for bearing with me through this.
I like
Marina.
it.
I think it works.
Yeah.
Yes.
Marina, so you've watched this minister get yanked into the crowd of people. There are several cultists who are prone in front of you, and the cultist leader is now essentially at the doorway. You can see where Signa and Ace are. What are you doing at this point?
I'm going to yeah, he's no longer beside me, so he doesn't know where I'm at. So I'm going to I'm going to do whispers to him.
Okay.
Dissonant, by the way.
And blah, 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 blah.
He has
It's
to make
like,
a
I'm
wisdom
sure.
saving throw.
Yeah, it's going to be a DC 13.
He succeeds.
Ah. In that case, I will do Vicious Mockery.
Okay, so both of those would have been an action. Dissonant Whispers, he does take
Oh,
half damage on a success.
So that'd be 8 damage there. Sorry, she's dealing with the kids.
I understand. Okay, so he takes 8 psychic damage. So
Yep.
Signa and Ace, you see this guy grab his head in what seems like agony, and he's going to cast a spell,
Ooh.
and he's doing a fireball centered on himself.
Oh.
So what happens is the fire explodes out, and the cultists who were around him trying to get away. So in Dungeons and Dragons, Fireball is the most underused spell, because whenever you cast a spell that wasn't Fireball, you could have cast Fireball. And Fireball solves all problems, and all of the problems these cultists have or were ever going to have are now solved permanently.
Since he's 20 feet away from me, I assume I have to do a dex save as well.
No, he's just doing he's not, because it's centered on him. So you guys are, everybody in the party is out of the radius of it.
Okay.
But as soon as this happens, he is going to take another action, and this point it is going to be on you, Ace. He's going to launch an Eldritch Blast at you.
Ooh, okay.
I'm guessing 12 does not hit your AC.
It does not.
All right. So yeah, this badly battered person is swaying, and he launches an Eldritch Blast, which just flies past you, and like you feel air on it, but it doesn't hurt you. Signa, you're up.
Okay, so I can now see this guy?
You have full line of sight on him.
I would very much like to mind spike him.
Right. I believe that's a wisdom save.
Getting some mileage out of that spell.
It's a good spell, and he did fail his save.
I get bonuses to psychic damage at a higher level. Let's see. Alright, yeah, then let me roll up the damage, and as flavoring for this, I'm going to have it be flashes of my gods as opposed to his.
Oh boy.
Your friend's better than your imaginary friend. Right.
My imaginary friends talk to me about that, bitch.
This is
So that's going to be 22 psychic damage.
Jesus.
All right. So he is going to, there'll be a moment where he grabs his head, and then he's going to let go, and he's going to go completely calm. And he's going to walk right up to you, Signa, drop to his knees, and bow his head, and say, I see the errors of my ways, Master. I pledge my soul to your deities. And then that's it. He just dies.
Well, that worked out. I maintain that my gods are better than everyone else's gods.
It's just kind of looks at the now bowed dead one, and just goes, all right then. I don't think I've ever seen someone convert someone else to their religion by murdering them, but effective.
It's surprisingly common among death cults, wouldn't you know?
I'll leave that to you. Yeah.
All right. So, Locke, you're not really able to make your way through the church because, well, of the state it's in. But you, Load, and your bag of holding are all able to make your way back around to essentially rendezvous with the rest of the group. Marina, you are stepping over a lot of remains to make your way out of this ghastly sanctuary you've been in, which was, I mean, it was already a horrific place to be because of the rituals that went on there and the signs that were left behind of those rituals. So you're able to pick your way through and get out. As you all,
Yeah.
go ahead.
I was gonna have, as soon as Marina makes her way out, she just collapses.
That
And
smell.
that was not a good experience at all for her. To any degree, and her disguised self disappears.
Okay. All right. Now, you have another problem, the whole group does, which is that this was a bit loud, and you are kind of in a town of cultists. So a crowd of people has gathered has gathered a respectable distance away, but they're just staring at the scene, and it's not completely clear what any of them are going to do at this point. How is the party going to react to this situation, or what are you going to do in this situation?
Ace is gonna kind of see the large crowd, and he's gonna kind of make his way towards where he last saw Marina, but he's just gonna kind of stand there, and then use his hexblade ability to summon his weapon, which is actually gonna be a scimitar, holding in the air, and he's gonna kind of shout, "A deal was made. You don't harm those inside the gates, and they don't harm you. They broke the deal. Now they're all dead. If you would like to continue this deal, the deal shall be remained sanctioned. No one shall kill you unless they walk through your gates. Don't fuck with this town." And he's gonna walk over to Marina.
Okay.
What a bardic inspiration hymn saying thank you.
All right. Are Signa or Locke doing anything in this moment? Before I'll let you roll intimidation because I love this, but I just want to see if the other two want to do anything.
Well, as he's giving a speech how no one else is going to be killed, Signa is firing off another Eldritch Blast into the crowd.
Fuck me.
So basically, yeah. So as Ace is
over the crowd.
At the crowd.
Wait, at the crowd who has gathered that he's talking to?
Yeah. They're still
Damn it.
cultists. Still cultists, right? These are the surviving cultists.
Well, these are cult. So there was more than one branch of this cult in this town. The person you took out was the leader of the branch that you were after. You weren't after the whole cult. It was just this particular person you were supposed to go after, and you have taken out him and his church. There are other denominations or factions or whatever you would like to call it of the cult.
Oh, in that case, I will just do an Eldritch Blast into the sky to get everyone's attention. Sort of like
There we go.
I misunderstood the situation. Can that be like an assist action though to help?
Yeah. So basically, the way this is going to go down is the crowd are murmuring among themselves, and some of them are starting to look hostile. And Signa just reaches into the sky and fires off an Eldritch Blast, basically to the similar effect of someone firing a gun to get everyone's attention, and it works. Locke, are you doing anything?
I've got the last of my normal bombs in my hand, and I'm just sort of tossing it up and down in my hand, looking back at the church. Ace, should I just kind of like finish what I started here?
Give it a moment. We'll see how impactful this is. Does the Eldritch Blast give me advantage?
Yes, it does. So go ahead
Alright.
and roll intimidation, and don't forget you also have a bardic inspiration should you want it.
Yep. That's going to be a unnatural 22.
All right. So this crowd, you get the impression that if they'd had a little bit more time to prepare themselves, they might have still wanted to fight, but this was just a lazy evening when all of this suddenly happened. And they do not know you. They do not know what you're still capable of. And you have completely dismantled something right in the middle of their town. So nobody's trying to go rounds with you at this point.
So he's going to look at Locke and he'll say, Did you get everything from the treasury?
I'll pat the bag of holding. I got a few things.
All right. Anything in there that's worth anything?
I grabbed a lot of shinies, and I
meant still in the building.
Did it look like there was anything still worth it in the building?
Not worth going back into a burning building for.
I mean, I wouldn't go back in there, but
good enough for me. He's gonna walk over and kind of pick up Marina Camperalt style. He's gonna look back at the crowd and he's gonna go, now, if anyone would actually like to continue fucking with this town, and not anyone who passes your gates, because honestly, I don't give a fuck about any of those, here's what's going to happen, Locke, if you would. And he's going to gesture to the church.
You got it, Cap. And I'm going to throw the bomb at the doorway to just sort of finish collapsing it.
All right. So yeah, the place goes down in a pile of smoke and rubble, and the crowd just parts for you as you all go to leave.
Thank you kindly.
And as you're leaving, just a random person in the crowd says, "Who are you?"
Oh, what was out of character, was our ship's name the Morning Star, I think?
The Morning Star, yeah.
All right. We're the crew of the Morning Star. My name is Ace. I am the captain. We tend to just go around and make sure people uphold some of the deals that they put down. I would rather not have to come back here and fuck with more of your strange cultist ways. So do me a favor and don't say a word until something inside of the village says something about this whole situation, as that can kind of be a problem for us. And as you may have noticed here, we don't really take problems very well. Thanks. All right, bye. Oh, and if anyone would like to join us for adventures who isn't a psychopathic, murderous, crazy person, you're welcome to join us. Assuming that you aren't going to kill us in our sleep, because let me tell you, we'll kill you first.
Someone steps forward who he has somewhat impractically daggers just sheathed all over his person, just a truly impractical number of knives, and he's going to say, I won't kill you in your sleep.
That's good enough for me. All right, come on. I can imagine the boat life is going to be a hell of a lot better than... He kind of gestures vaguely to the area around him.
Fair enough, Captain. And he puts a lot of emphasis that he's trying to let you know that he's recognizing your authority. All right, so with that, mission completed in a completely orderly, tactical, and precise fashion. You all are going to be able to make your way back to the dockside.
Go ahead.
Mm-hmm.
As we exit to the village of Cultus, Cygnus just going to shout, "My gods are better than yours!"
Wow.
While he does that, I'm gonna lean over to Ace while he does that, and I'm gonna lean over to him and be like, Ace, does that mean that? I mean, am I a psychopathic killer?
No, because you won't kill us in our sleep.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. You're likely a sociopathic killer. You know what? We'll take any of those any day of the week. Yeah. You understand that.
Still just not here.
Yeah, I'm just holding her, so I'm saying this over her head. I'm just like, as long as you're aware that if you try to kill us, we'll murder you first, I'm fine with having you on the ship.
You got it, Cap. You got it.
Alright, cool. Glad we got that established. How you doing there, princess? You still alive? The smell of human flesh being disintegrated is very rarely a good one.
So you make your way back to the dockside, and Tully comes out to greet you, and he's just kind of staring at you as you're walking down the street, and he says, "Well, my intention was that you take out the Reverend Blood and just that person, but I suppose 5% or so of the cultist population of that town works. Oh, yeah, that's just as good. Anyway, there's rooms and a bath ready. There's rooms and baths and everything else ready for you at the inn. You all enjoy your stay and let me know if you need anything else."
Thank you kindly.
You forgot to give specifics to an explosives expert and a crazy cultist. What did you expect was going to happen?
Mistress Signa, you are entirely right. The fault is entirely mine. And he's going to bid you good night, and that is where we're going to leave the session. When we meet next, you all will be level 5.
Sweet. God, that was great. All right, hopefully you guys enjoyed that ramshackle of an episode right there. Just the absolute putting the fear of apparently her god into everyone. So hopefully you guys enjoyed the episode. If you guys did, feel free to hit that follow button if you guys have not already, and then go check out some of our other series, socials and series, including Adventures into the End Times, the technical sequel of this series, also run by Benny, or go check out his TikTok, Autist DM. And then next week on the 8th, Tuesday, we are not going to be playing Monster Hunter Rise. Instead, we're going to be playing Gary's Mod Prop Hunt with some of the folks from the community, because we now hit 100 followers on our Twitch, and we wanted to do something special for that. So feel free to check that out. It'll be at 7 o'clock p.m. PST next Tuesday. This Tuesday, we're going to be playing some Monster Hunter Rise tomorrow. So we'll see all of you fine folks next time. Bye.
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 Uh,